Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi. What's the vibe check? End of the day energy levels. Are we? Woo? Good. That's what we like to hear. We are about to commence our final panel of the day, and we're finishing strong with a topic that, you know, is very important, I can see, to every woman in this room. You can see, it's very important to me. It's hair, honey. Hair care, we could be here for ages, but thankfully for you and everybody, we have an excellent moderator in the form of esteemed beauty journalist, cultural icon to me personally, Fumi Fetto. Exactly. She will be moderating this session. She's going to run a tight ship. We have not one, not two, not three, but four. You can see so many chairs, 6 panelists. It's going to be a biggie. So enjoy, and I will see you on the other side. So please give Fumi a huge, warm welcome to the stage. My chic favorite, my guru, my number one. I love you so much. Okay, enjoy. I'm going to sit in the front.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Let's get the energy up. I know you've probably been here all day. I'm going to introduce, everyone will introduce themselves in a little bit more detail, but we have an incredible lineup, and I think we'll have a really interesting conversation around hair. So let me welcome Abiba, Leslie, Mikai McDermott, Michelle Sultan, and Titi Bello. Welcome, guys. So, as Zazie mentioned, we are here to talk about hair. And I love looking at this panel, actually, because everyone has very different hair, and I love it. And this really speaks to the variety of hairstyles and hair looks that we embody and we celebrate as Black women. And I love that for us. It's major. So, we have a few questions here. And essentially, in many ways, it's really speaking to a lot of questions that I think consumers basically have. And it's to really find out all of your thoughts on these areas. But before we go into that, can I just ask you all to introduce yourself a little fully? So I'll start with you, Mikai.
Hi everyone, I'm Mikai McDermott. I'm a beauty and lifestyle content creator and a beauty historian. I spent quite a few years working backstage, red carpet, doing hairstyling for celebrities, and now I'm here. Yeah.
Michelle.
Hello, how are you all? I am Michelle Sultan. I am a hairstylist, but not only that, I work very hard in the salon. I do celebrity hairstyling, working on various different TV shows that I'm sure you've all seen, working with lots of very big names over the last 25 years. And here I am.
And also Olaplex ambassador.
I am also the Olaplex ambassador.
Which is quite major.
Exactly. So here I am.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Abiba, also known as Abs.tract. I create content around natural hair, specifically for type 4 hair, and I'm that girl that speaks Yoruba on TikTok, if you do know me. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Leslie, also known as Fresh Lemps, and I've been creating content online for over 10 years, which makes me feel really old. But basically I've always loved talking about hair. I can talk about it for too long, and I've had everything from relaxed hair that was down to my waist, to going natural and chopping it off, and then to actually losing my hair and then cutting it all off and starting again. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Leslie.
Hi everyone, my name is Titi Bello, but you can just call me Titi. I am the founder of Ori Lifestyle. I started off as a hair coach. I absolutely love the journey that I've been on with my hair, from damaged to repaired and thriving hair, and that is what I wish for everyone.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Okay, so I'm going to start. Actually, I might start with you, Titi, actually. Not putting you in the spot, but here we go. What is the best way to create an effective hair care routine? Well, certainly, what have you found is the best way?
Okay, I think that it's really important for all of us, especially those with hair closer to my texture, to start with acceptance of your hair. Because I still find that many people will tell me that they want healthy long hair, and even when they've achieved it, so some of the women that I hair coach, they still struggle with wearing their hair out and enjoying it. And I think part of that is because they're still wielded to this idea of what good hair looks like, especially for this texture. So accepting your hair texture really guards against unrealistic expectations. So that's the first place that I really want a lot of people to start, knowing this texture and accepting it for what it is.
Fantastic. Michelle, I remember you started talking and Michelle went like this.
I was like, I wanted to drop the mic and throw my shoe at you or something. My God. Listen, I've been on the Olaplex stand today, and I don't know who's come over to see me today. Anyone? So pretty much everyone that I spoke to I'd start with the question, what are your hair concerns? And my hair's dry. That's it. And I'm like, okay, so what does dry hair mean to you? And just finding out and hearing people's different takes on what dry hair constitutes to is so interesting, because half the time their hair's not dry. It's just going back to they're not accepting the texture that's coming out of their head, and they have this beauty idealism or beauty standard that is not realistic to what's growing out of their head. So what you said, girl.
And it's a conversation that what we've certainly had. We've talked about this whole idea of good hair and so on, which makes me bristle. But I looking at where we are right now and coming from this sort of natural hair movement and so on, and yet we're still talking about people not accepting their hair texture. And let me just make this clear: this is not really saying that you can't wear extensions, you can't wear, your hair in different ways, because I think that's one of the things that's so incredible about us, that we can do all of that, and we can come with the different styles and the different energy and so on and so forth, and you can change your hair like you change your mood or whatever it is. It's more about, like you say, acceptance. And I'm just wondering, where are we with that? And I'd love to hear all your thoughts about, from your experiences. Mikai, let's maybe start with you in terms of being a content creator and and also being a hairstylist, what you found has changed and, what you're seeing the issues are.
I think we all have a very personal relationship with our hair, and I think this is so different to other races in that it's so politicized. People have so many ideas about you based on your hair, but we also form ideas about each other based on our hair. Emma Dabiri had a campaign with Loewe that went live recently, and there was a lot of commentary on her hair that it wasn't done properly. She could go so much further if her hair was done well. And there's so many implications by this proper word. So I think as a content creator, it's been difficult to come online and be vulnerable about my hair journey, hair breakage, hair growth, because so many of us, if I speak as someone who watches content, are still going through the journey of acceptance with our hair. And I think this, like Titi said, her first step would be acceptance. But I feel that it's really difficult to get to that first step when you meet people and they may treat you differently based on how your hair is styled. And we all know that there are economic consequences to having your hair a certain way. There's socio-economic consequences. So I think it's a very difficult journey. I don't really have an answer, but I think it is something that you have to do every single day. You have to be conscious and tell yourself a positive message about your hair every single day.
Absolutely, definitely. Abiba, I'd love to hear from you.
I definitely agree with Mikai on there not being an answer, but I think conversations around it helps. And what helped me the most, I have to say, is hair neutrality. And it's not a thing, but it's not a term, but I just coined it, yes, something like that.
And it goes. Yes.
And hair neutrality.
Everyone here, Abiba, I'm just checking the mics. You can hear okay?
And
Yeah? Okay, fab.
hair neutrality for me is just thinking about even how your body works. The fact that I'm here, my body functions, and I can eat, and I'm existing, I kind of had to adopt that approach to my hair as well. Actually, hair is dead. It has to grow regardless, like the way your nails and toenails grow. So that was my first step, just being neutral about my hair. It's here, and that's it. And, you know, anything next that was my form of acceptance. And in terms of the social, economic, or even political aspect of your hair, I definitely think people perceive you, especially Black women. I think we perceive ourselves a lot based around our hair, and sometimes they're unfair in ways, because we can critique how our hair looks even within ourselves. But I always scream freedom for the girlies, because I want you to truly be free in your hair, even if others don't, reflect that from you. So yeah, I just think hair neutrality, think of freedom and what that looks like for you, for your hair, and really have that conversation with yourself. You know, when you look in the mirror and you're like, am I okay with my hair? How do I feel about my hair? And when you start that internal work, it reflects outwards. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Thank you. That's a really good point. And I think also community is really important in building up that sort of, that idea of loving your hair, I guess, and, and acceptance, especially when you work in spaces that were not really created for people that look like us or have hair like us and so on. Leslie, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well, especially as someone who has come from having, I remember you when you had, your really long hair and so on, and then when you chopped it off and all the different sort of phases that you went through with your hair. So I'd love to hear your thoughts around this issue.
Yeah, it is the case, unfortunately, that a lot of people judge you based on your hair type. I remember when my hair was long and relaxed, a lot of people would reach into my hair a lot to see if it was real. And then when it was a big afro, I also got a lot of that as well. And yeah, it's fascinating. It is politicized when you have a big afro, and it's just like, I'm just existing in the hair that I was born with. Why has it suddenly become a political statement for me to have my natural hair? Yeah, you really just have to wear your hair how you want to wear it, because people are just going to make their own assumptions regardless.
Yeah.
Did you find that when you had, because, I've certainly seen this a lot when, as a Black woman, if you wear your hair a certain way, as opposed to maybe having it natural, you might have someone say, oh, I like your hair like that. And I hear that quite a lot, and I see that quite a lot in different spaces. And I think that brings on this added pressure, because you feel like, okay, maybe this hair is more acceptable in this space. And I wondered whether that's something that any of you have experienced.
The biggest question I would always get when my hair was big and it was big afro, was always, oh, have you ever tried straightening it? It's like, I did that for years. I definitely don't want to do that anymore. I'm fine. Like, I like it straight as well, but I'm also happy with my afro. So it was a weird time.
Yeah, I think that's familiar probably to a lot of us. Okay, so I have this question here, which I hear quite a lot, about speeding up hair growth. What is the key? And I have to say, there's two sides of that question for me, because I'm just like, okay, that's fine about speeding up hair growth, and hair growth means you're alive, and, but I think actually, sorry to sound really morbid, but I think after you die, your hair still grows for a little bit. But anyway, but hair growth is a sign that, you're alive, but why are we so obsessed with hair growth?
Because there's just so many issues with hair loss in our community. So.
No, that's completely separate. That's more of a sort of medical related issue. I think...
Do you mean, are you talking about, do we have an obsession with having long hair?
Yes, I think there is that. You know what I mean? I think hair growth. So maybe what we do is that let's speak to the two different aspects of it. So hair growth, I'll ask you, Michelle, especially for someone who's maybe suffering from hair loss and so on and so forth. What are the keys?
Again, I've had so many women come up to me, my hair doesn't grow, hair is always growing. That's one thing, okay? It grows at different rates. So how your hair grows and how my hair grows, two different rates. My key thing always is nutrition. Look at what you are intaking. Look at what you're eating, what you're drinking. Look at your vitamin intakes, because it's an internal thing. It's coming from.
You just quickly picked up that water, because
Everyone
Okay,
took a
let's
sip
get
of
the
water,
water
like,
in.
yeah. Just, I mean, hydration, Titi, am I right? Hydration is key.
100%.
Nutrition. Do you know, also, stress. I can happily say in this room, you know, look at your menstrual cycle, look at all things like that. You know, if you know, you're losing hair at a high rate, and maybe that's going into a different subject,
please, I
but
think
it's
really
all
helpful.
relative, it's all encompassing. So for me, nutrition intake, what you're taking, like you said, stress, what you surround yourself with, all of that is having factors on your hair growth. So that's number one. I'll shoot over to you.
And I also think your water, most of us in London live in hard water areas.
100%.
So you may have to think about getting a chelating shampoo. But I think on average, people say your hair grows half an inch a month. I think that's like a good benchmark for like, this is average. When people say their hair doesn't grow, I interpret it as your hair is either breaking at a faster rate than it's growing.
Yeah.
So I think we have to spend some time with our hair. Just do a shampoo. This is how I evaluate my hair health. I'll do a detox shampoo, and I'll use no conditioner, and I let it air dry. And then I look at the state that my hair is in. I look at my curl texture. I look at how coarse it feels. I look at my ends. I look at everything with a clean slate. And this allows me to say, okay, my hair feels drier than usual. My scalp is more irritated than usual. But I think we forget that scalp care is just as or even more important than your hair care. I think we have to still be evaluating what's going on with your scalp.
Listen, the amount of conversations I've had, I feel like I've been on replay, but the amount of times I've said to people, what cleanser are you using? People are telling me that they're cleansing their hair every 4 weeks. My key thing is, okay, this is your face, this is your scalp. It's all connected, right? Yes, it's covered in hair, but it still needs to be cleansed regular. Not twice a day like you do your face, but you need to cleanse your hair. You need to clean it. Number one, people sit down and they're like, oh, my hair's dry, it's got product build-up. Clean it. Like, so what you said, using a chelating shampoo, like breaking it all down, getting rid of all the limescale build-up, the debris, the mineral oils, everything that's built up. Let's just clean it. Pollution, external factors. Let's start again. Start on a clean slate and really, really have a look at your hair and see what state it's in. That's a great tip.
Tell me how, sorry, you go ahead. Go ahead.
So Michelle actually started with something that I really want a lot of people to pay attention to, which is your diet. So I'm going to say DSSS, your diet, your stress management, your sleep is really important. So I am a hair coach, and before my course starts, I ask people to go and do their blood work. At least 70% come back with an iron deficiency or vitamin D deficiency. Those things will wreak havoc on your hair. Nowadays, we're actually also finding that a lot of people have thyroid that is not functioning very well. That will also impact on your hair. It's really crucial to pay attention to your diet. But within your diet also includes alcohol consumption, which a lot of people don't talk about. Yes, I know.
Everyone's like, oh,
Everyone slid down a little bit more and took a sip of water. We're looking at you, y'all.
I know. I am known as a person that speaks the uncomfortable truth. But you see, what alcohol does is it dehydrates you. Not only does it dehydrate you, it can also interfere with your sleep. It can also interfere with the absorption of nutrients. So you really need to watch your alcohol intake. Stress can lead to hair loss. We know this. If you're not sleeping properly, it means that your body is not recovering. Your body, your tissue recovers during sleep. If it's not repairing, it's not growing. And then the last one that people really hate is styling, especially as Black women. We are the ones that should be doing the least, but we do the most to our hair. And we do the most to our hair, and we say that, you know, culturally we love to braid. Well, not everybody should be braiding their hair, because some of you have really thin hair, brittle hair that should not be braided at all. Until you start paying attention to your styling, you will not retain the length.
Come on. Thank you. That's really, really super, super helpful. I see no lies there. anyone else want to add anything to that?
Yeah. So in terms of length retention, I think specifically with type 4 hair, I always encourage like just radical gentleness. Like our hair is the weakest type of hair, although you might look at your and think it's so strong, it's so hard, but it actually requires the most care. So when it comes to like retaining length, you need to be so gentle when you work the products through, work in sections, really take your time and don't fight with your hair as well. And in terms of retention as well, I think to retain them, because people say, hair is always growing, but to retain the length you already have, you need to be gentle with the hair you already have. If you have type 4 hair, for example, mini braids work perfectly for me. I always say opt for flat twist under your wig instead of like cornrows if you're wearing, a big curly hair as opposed to like doing the tight cornrows that you typically will. If you have finer, less dense hair, go for a mini twist that can stay flat under your wig because you can still wash your hair and not have to like detangle everything and like work through it. So I think it's finding ways that you can still cleanse your scalp but still like leave the rest of your hair like I guess slightly loose as opposed to like not doing anything at all, because not washing your hair for a month, it's not the way forward. And applying oils to dry scalp as well. Like if you're thirsty, you don't get a glass of oil to drink. You do.
Been my
What a great analogy.
This is one of the myths, actually, that that we have, and I guess because culturally, so many of us have grown up with, you have to oil your scalp, but that's in recent years, that's just been debunked, that we don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Someone spoke to me, Someone spoke to me earlier about a trend coming back where a particular brand, I won't say it out loud, but it begins with B and ends with magic. Has come back on TikTok as a trend.
No way.
And they're like, yes, it works. It works. And I'm like, do you know what's in Blue Magic? Tell me all about it. Let's go.
Oils.
Blue Magic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Michelle,
like
me. Now, one of the things that I did want to address, and both of you, Titi and Abiba, you mentioned that about the gentleness that is required with our hair. And I think that's a really valid point, because I think there is still that idea that our hair needs, tough sort of treatment, and people still use that kind of language around their hair, And I always talk about, like, when we're washing our hair as well, you do need to be really gentle. It's a scalp, it's your hair, it's not a pot. We don't need to, because sometimes you have some of those hairstylists and they're really kind of going for it.
Yeah.
And I think that is so detrimental to our hair. We need that gentle touch, really. It needs to be efficient and effective, whatever we do, but it has to be gentle, right?
Yeah, literally from installing your protective styles to taking it out. Because a lot of protective styles, in my opinion, aren't very protective. But if someone's done 2 different heat process to get your cornrows in, then you've broken down like your actual your bonds, 2-way process before actually getting a protective style in, and then you've taken out anyhow. So the process just goes from actually really detangling your hair, going to someone who cares about your hair, because hair care and hair styling often aren't the same thing, and you need to find you need to find a stylist that actually cares about your hair as well. Gummy is not made for your scalp. And no, there's nothing wrong with gummy. I feel like gummy serves a purpose in hair care, because I use gummy when I slick my hair back, but having gummy on your scalp, especially if you don't wash your scalp often, is something, yeah.
And using wax for braids, for hairstyling. Wax, actually, sometimes up to 6 washes, it still remains on your hair shaft and on your scalp. So I definitely think we need more education about the right type of hair products to use. But not only that, some of our hairdressers are older women. So we also have to educate them on what hair products to use. Like, I've been to hair salons for the first time wanting to get my wig braids or something, and they've fried my hair within an inch of its life. So there's a lot of circular education that I think needs to happen in order for this gentle hair care to become normalized.
I'm going to say one thing that may sound controversial, but I'm not trying to be controversial. It is not reasonable that a lot of black women don't know how to wash their own hair. And I think that if we start from actually knowing how to handle our hair, when you go into those spaces and they're mishandling your hair, then you're more likely to be able to speak up. But, you know, COVID, lockdown, loads of people learnt to handle their hair in that period of time. And they were then empowered when they went on to salons. And I really believe we should all enjoy salons. But you're right, a lot of salons perhaps need to skill up, need to catch up. But we
to not have us waiting for 3 hours.
Exactly.
There's also that.
I mean, that's a whole nother conversation to be had. But yeah, no, totally agree with you. Again, I had someone earlier who came to me. She had 3 daughters. Are you here now? But she came to me. She had 3 daughters, and she had locks herself. And we had a whole conversation about, you know, getting her children onto a routine and understanding how to look after their hair themselves. Because one thing, once it's in you, you're not going to forget it. Once you know how to look after your hair, you're not going to forget it. And once you have a good hair routine, it's not going anywhere. So like you said, when they go to these salons, if their hair's been mistreated or manhandled, then they can go, do you know what, stop, I don't like that treatment. I need you to do it like this, and they're helping to educate. But it starts at home, in my opinion.
Yes, no, absolutely. And yeah, I think also, you know, you have to be really selective about where you go, because I can imagine there's some of the salons where you're like, I don't like the way you're washing my hair. And they'll be like, really? You know?
I'll actually up and go.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that I think we have tolerated a lot of nonsense in a lot of these spaces for so long. And I think that we have to be much more empowered to be able to say, okay, I'm just not going to give my business here if I'm not going to be treated well. We've talked a lot about cleansing the hair, washing the hair, which I totally agree with. Like, I can't go 7 days, maybe 10 at an absolute push, but 7 days without washing my hair. And that's something that I started many years ago, and it's really served me well. And now I just can't do without it. What would you say is the ideal? Because I guess for different people, it's different.
It's all relative to your hair type and the hairstyle. But yeah, I would say 7 days, 7 to 10 max. I know I can only tell you about my personal thing with my hair, and I get to maybe 5, 6 days at a push, and I'm already like, ah. You can just see like the way your hair moves. I think I'm at day 4 now. I'm already like, ah. I need to. You can just feel it. So. What would you say, 7 to 10 or less?
So
or
I would say 7 days is optimal.
Yeah.
10 days is second best, but don't go over 2 weeks without washing your hair. Now, funny enough, I wash my own hair every 2 weeks, but I started off by washing every 7 days. I wash my hair every 2 weeks because my scalp can take it.
Right.
There are loads of people who cannot wait 2 weeks. So I agree with you. It depends on your lifestyle and your scalp health.
Leslie, what about you, and how has that changed since you sort of, your hair is shorter now?
Yeah, so definitely now it's short. I can wash it all the time, but I still don't do it I wouldn't do it every day, I'll do it every week. Also, I can get sebderm, so seborrheic dermatitis. So if I don't cleanse my hair, I will have an overgrowth of just nonsense on my scalp. So I have to wash it. So if it starts to itch, I'm just like, yeah, no, I need to get the shampoo on now. I really enjoy washing my hair as well. I feel like a lot of people don't seem to like it. I really relish it.
There is so much attachment to washing your hair yourself. Just sometimes if you've had a bad day and you just get in the shower and you just wash the day. It's
wash it all off, yeah.
Yeah, you just wash it off. It's such a beautiful experience. You're so right.
Yeah.
Moisturizing the hair, moisturizing the scalp. Should we be moisturizing our scalp at all?
Should I go?
My earring fell off. That's how dramatic that is.
I've changed my mind on this. So initially I used to say your scalp doesn't need anything. But I think I have listened to a lot of women to now understand that some people actually have dry scalp. And so you can condition it with something that has been designed to condition your scalp. I am not for oiling the scalp, but you can use a spritz, for example, that has been designed for your scalp. So now I am like, okay, for some people, they may need to condition with something that has been designed for the scalp.
And just to clarify, when she says a spritz, not, I don't know, not the spritz. Not the spritz. For those who remember.
Not pump it up.
Yeah.
over some eye gel.
But a
ponytail,
particular product that's been created specifically for the scalp, which there are quite a lot now, because I think brands are understanding that actually it starts with the scalp first. And so there are numerous products out there that are specifically targeting the scalp. Okay.
I use a good one from The Way. They have a scalp serum. The Ordinary has a hyaluronic acid scalp serum. Those are the two that I've tried. I have eczema, so I also have dry scalp as a result of it, and that means I have to wash my hair every week as well. And I have since I was a child, my aunt washed my hair every week. No matter what hairstyle I have, it could be the most elaborate hairstyle, I will take it down and wash my hair. But I think more of us need to accept that you just can't go 1 month without washing your hair. It's very inconvenient. I find it inconvenient. Leslie loves washing her hair. I hate washing my hair. I don't like spending time washing my hair. I think I'd rather do anything else. But you still have to do it, you know? It can't be an option. I think for too many black women, your hair is presented as an option. You can optionally take care of it. You can optionally wash. It's not an option. You have to take care of it. You need to see it just as important as some people see doing your makeup. Some of you want to go out with makeup on, you have to wash your hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I do every 2 weeks as well, because my lifestyle, whilst I was working, that was just what I could accommodate. But I think there are ways to like cleanse your scalp, because I think it's the drenching of the whole hair often for a lot of people. So when I have mini twist in, very often I don't actually always have to wet the whole strand, because I work out and it's my scalp that's, you know, that's dirty in that meantime. It doesn't substitute like normal washing, of course. So I just like get my shampoo, I put my hair in like 8-9 sections, and I just get in my bathtub and like put it on the side, really focus on my scalp, rinse it out, and I'm leaning towards serums now for my hair, because I'm here for the skinification of, you know, of hair care. So serums work perfectly, and I think the one from The Ordinary is amazing. There's one from This Hair of Mine as well. I think they're part of it. Yeah.
Cynthia's, which is fabulous.
Yeah, their serum is amazing as well. But yeah, I definitely think you don't have to wet your whole hair if you don't want to wash every week, you can still cleanse your scalp in ways. It doesn't substitute for normal washing, but it's a thing in the meantime, because I think people are scared to move to, because when I tell girls to wash their hair every 2 weeks, they're like, but like, I don't wash it at all. Like, why would I move to every 2 weeks? I think if there are ways to like, you know, get you into it just get you into it in a short time, yeah, that can work, yeah.
We touched on, I'm going to speed up a little bit now so that there can be some time for questions. We touched on protective hairstyles a little bit, and you were saying that not all protective hairstyles are actually protective. I can't remember, someone said that.
Oh yeah,
you mentioned that. What is the best way to have protective styles to ensure that, yes, when you're wearing your wigs and so on, your hair is still being cared for?
I would say for wigs, I always say, like, if you can, I don't know if it's a thing, but like silks and satin, because very often, like my friends who wear wigs, for example, they have long, luscious hair, but the edges, they're like, girl, it's not given. But I'm like, if you can get like a thin strap of like satin, if you can sew down the perimeter, like if it's like a 6x5, I don't know the language, but it's 6x6. If it's like a closure wig, for example, you can kind of like put some satin on the perimeter, like that works as well. Protective styles shouldn't pull on your edges. Anything that feels too tight is not protecting anything, because the moment your hair is pulled out of its follicle, the follicle's damaged, it's not going to grow back. So I think low tension, low manipulation, and also like tension is the biggest thing for me, so yeah.
I would say if you wear wigs a lot, I used to wear wigs. I basically wore wigs all year this year, which is ironic because last year I stopped wearing wigs because I felt uncomfortable without one. So if you are someone who wears wigs pretty consistently, I would say to do your braids bigger than you usually would, bigger than you want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would do them down to the side so that it wasn't pulling back on my edges. Yeah. And again, it's easier to wash. Like, you can just take your wig off and wash your scalp. But also, I really think 6x6 and 7x7 closures are far better because they can be glueless. Yeah. When you start introducing glue and adhesives into your routine, that's when you find your skin and your edges will really start to suffer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys to think about the 4 E's before you do any protective hairstyle. It used to be my 3 E's, it's now 4. The first is it easy on your scalp? Is it easy, sorry, is it easy to install? Is it easy on your scalp? Is it easy on your strands? Is it easy to take down? If you answer no to any of those questions, it's something that you should not be doing frequently. You do it as a treat, as a rare treat. Because if it's not easy to install, not easy on your scalp, not easy to take down, not easy on your strands, it's causing problems. It's causing problems.
What I've started doing as well, when I do like knotless braids or just any single braids, I do all the perimeters shorter and then the rest can be longer because I have fine edges. So all the braids around my edges are only up to my chest and then the rest can be whatever length I'd like. And it blends in, you can't tell, but it just saves your edges from that extra pulling and tension.
That's really good. That's a really good tip. Michelle, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh my God, I think these lot have answered it all. I mean, in terms of styling, like protective styling, I see a lot of these like crochet braids now, which I think are a much better option, right? Because they're a bit more temporary in terms of like they don't need to be left in. They're installed a lot quicker. You're going to go against me?
No.
No, this is actually a question for you. So if you have a crochet braid...
Is it the tool you don't like?
What is it?
Yeah, because I don't like the tool. Yeah.
It's the fact that your hair's cornrowed.
Right.
And then there's a tool that is putting something else on top of it. And then there's the extra hair as well. It's just...
So that is no better than having individual braids?
No, I really like her because the major thing with braids sometimes is that parameters, and also if people have really thin hair.
Right.
And I've already said people that have really thin hair should actually really think twice about certain hairstyles. But I would love that. I prefer that option of having the hair around the perimeters a lot shorter than the hair at the back or in the middle. But crochet braids, I really find problematic.
Ooh, that's
Really
very
problematic.
Controversial. Because so many people are now opting for that because they're
Yes,
making
rather.
it.
hate it when I say it.
Exactly.
It's all a conversation. Every day's a school day, right?
Okay, before we go to questions, tell me, what is your one, I know this is asking a lot, but if you had to choose one hero product for your hair, what would it be? Oh, tell me.
Redken Acidic Bonding Concentrate Leave-In.
Okay.
Yeah, superstar product. I think Redken is an amazing professional hair brand. Pros have it in their kit. I go on shoots, everyone has it in their kit, but it's also extremely user-friendly. The ABC leave-in is really great if you have heat-damaged hair, if you have like water damage, if your hair is overhydrated. It's really good at building in those bonds on a molecular level, so fab product.
Michelle.
So obviously, I'm going to talk about Olaplex. Not because I work for them, and I wouldn't work with a brand that I didn't believe in. They've recently come up with a treatment called the Bond Rebuilding Treatment, which is incredible. Our lovely Donna, if she's here.
It is
founder
amazing,
of
I have to
Beauty
say.
I actually did the treatment on her and she was raving about it. What it is, it's a treatment that helps to rebuild the bonds in curls, basically. So it just helps getting like hydration back into the hair, helping to define the curls. There's no chemicals, there's no silicones in it, there's no protein. So it just really takes care of the hair, and it's something that is really important as a treatment in terms of any of us should be able to go into any salon up and down the country, whether they do, whatever hair type they specialize in or don't specialize in. We should be able to go into any salon and have this treatment done. And that is something, it's done in the same way right across the board. There's no okay, so if your hair's a type 4, then it has to be done in this way. If your hair's a type 2, it's the same treatment, the same timing, and the results are phenomenal. Come and see me after if you want to see some photos, because I'm literally keeping a library on my phone at the moment. It's insane. I want to show it to you.
Viva.
I haven't left my product junkie ways, I can't lie, so I have a few. I think the Aveda, the scalp scrub, I really enjoy that. I think it's so good. I've been trying out Sacred's strengthening treatment. I really, really enjoy that, especially for type 4 hair. If you use heat a lot, it worked amazing for me. And I think the brand you mentioned, I can't remember what it's called. Redken. I think Redken is such a nice in-between. If you can't get like K18, but you don't also want to get like cheaper brands as well, it's perfect for all hair types, especially if you use heat and manipulate your hair a lot. So does that like my 3 right now? Okay. And shout out to Camille Rose as well, because I love their stuff. Yeah.
Fab, thank you.
I feel like I'm going to say shampoo because, yeah, I love shampooing. But specifically Vichy Durkos. So it's an anti-dandruff shampoo because I had sebderm. My life was miserable. I hated styling my hair at one point. I'd touch my hair and flakes would just be on my shoulders. It was awful. But that seems to be the only thing that's like calmed it down and also kept it at bay. So yeah, and actually a lot of us have dandruff and don't realise. So a lot of us actually need to use a good shampoo.
I high-fived her because that was going to be my thing as well. And I thought, as people were, I'm going to highly recommend something that's already in your goodie bag, which is the Uri Lifestyle Dudu shampoo. And I picked shampoo because of everything that you've said. I hear so many people having mild issues with their scalp. And I also really believe that as much as a lot of people underestimate washing your hair frequently, and to that extent shampoo as well, I think that getting a really good solid foundation with washing can really transform the game. So when we were developing the Dudu shampoo, for example, we made sure that it has salicylic acid and charcoal because of some of the things that you've mentioned. So shampooing is going to be my number 1 thing, and that it's in your goodie bag.
Nice. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And now we are going to go to the audience for questions. Is that you, Zazie?
Thank you so much. I was taking notes furiously, and everything you said just makes so much sense in terms of like the foundations of good hair being your literal scalp. My thing is about how to get your scalp really clean without affecting the rest of your hair. So that's my thing. When I'm like trying to really give my hair a deep clean, I find the shampoos are just too harsh for my actual hair, whereas my scalp kind of can get quite waxy or whatever. And I try my best to mitigate that by just not putting too much product in my hair strands. But I just find the things that are cleansing are too harsh on my hair itself. So yeah, anything that specifically can kind of clean your scalp without turning the rest of your hair into, brittle.
I'm honestly going to say that back in the days, even up to about 3 years ago, that would be really true. But we do have really better formulations on the market these days. So you will get shampoos that can really clean deeply, and shampoos that have sulfates, because I hear some people still running away from sulfates, and that is one of the worst things that you can do, is use a sulfate-free shampoo exclusively for your hair. It can become a disaster over time. But formulas are much better now. Yeah. I've already mentioned, for example, our shampoo called Dudu, which is you use it, I promise you, it will not dry out your hair, but it will keep your scalp and your hair clean, because formulas are just much better these days.
Yeah. Yes, I think that was a myth that was perpetrated right over a number of years, that, sulfates are really bad. But I always say that context is king. So sulfates are bad depending on what the rest of the formulation is. So if you pick up a shampoo that has sulfates in it, what is the brand about? What is the formulation? Is it a trusted brand? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I've always said this because there's always been that argument about, sulfates are just bad, full stop, which really isn't, it's not really telling the whole story.
You could also counteract it by putting something on your hair first. So maybe conditioner, oil. So then when you're shampooing, it doesn't touch that straight away. And then by the time you've rinsed, your hair is soft and your scalp is clean.
And even though this particular brand, it doesn't have salicylic acid in it or anything like that, but I find it cleanses really, really well, but also conditions really well. And it's Davina's The Love Curl range, which I swear by. I think it's incredible for the curls. So yeah, that's an option also. Any other questions? Lady in the pink hair.
Hi, fantastic chat, by the way. I just have a really quick question. So I have been, for like the past 10 plus years, been relaxing my hair root to tip. And I've only just kind of stopped that practice this past year when I realized just kind of, yes, my hair was thick and quote unquote more manageable, but it felt crispy. And so now I'm kind of transitioning from the relaxed hair and kind of more natural, but it is kind of really difficult, particularly for wash days, and kind of that difficulty of the fact that because my hair is now 2 different textures, it gets really knotted, really tangled very easily. And I've tried quite a lot of different products, but I can't kind of find one that kind of makes it easier to kind of detangle my hair.
Michelle.
So what would you kind of recommend for that? Sorry if this was a
Before I recommend, what's the goal? Where do you want to go with this?
I think my goal isn't to kind of have like waist length, butt length hair, that type. It's more just to kind of get my hair to to its natural state, really, and just maintain it from there. I'm quite lazy, if I'm going to be so for real. Like a good portion of the time, my hair is in some type of braid, crochet. I know you said about the crochet, but it's always in some type of style. So it is more, I guess, managing them wash days and when my hair is in the protective styles, so it's easier.
And just to do a consultation here, if you could have any hair in the world, what would it be?
I don't know, really. I never thought about that. I just want whatever goes out of my head.
Okay, so at the moment you're working with hair that is half natural.
Yeah.
How much natural hair roughly in length? If you could just show me with by way of your hands, or
I would say kind of about this much natural.
okay,
and
so
then,
maybe like 5-6 inches.
yeah.
And then the relaxer is how much?
It's kind of hard to tell these days because when I do touch water to my hair, it shrinks down, so it looks like I'm bald with just then little like tips of relaxed hair.
Okay, so my first advice would be to cut off the relaxer.
Yes.
Literally,
Michelle, you took a while to get there.
know.
This
But
is what
you
I
know
was going
why?
to say to you. You just need to chop it.
Chop the relaxer off. Because what you're trying to do is hold on. You might as well just pour money down the drain.
Okay.
Okay, because that hair is damaged. You don't want it because you literally just said to me you want the hair that grows out of your head in the best way possible. You answered the question for yourself.
Okay.
So let's let go of the relaxer, and then come and see me after. I will recommend you some shampoos, get you on a routine. So because your thing is that you just need a routine. You need shampoo, cleanser, treatments, styling products, and you need to learn how to look after your own hair in the way so it grows out of your hair.
Amazing.
That's it.
Easy. Chop. Right. Who's next? I can see a hand. Let's go for the lady just in the middle there. We have time, guys, so we'll come to you.
Hi, thank you so much for the talk. I've learned a lot. The question I have is, I've had this thing growing up where I just pull on my hair a lot, and now my edges has like really suffered, and I've tried to grow it out countless times, but I just have like some bald spots there. So I just wanted to ask what kind of advice you'd give if I wanted to like work on that. Thank you.
Should I go?
So, sorry, just to ask the question again, when you say you're pulling it out, are you physically...
Yeah, like
Pulling
I'd be
it out.
bored and I'd just be like, yeah, and then it'll break here.
I'll let you go, but I think maybe it's a conversation to be had with you after as well, because there's a little bit more
Yeah.
detail that we need to get.
Yeah. So it's actually a really important question. And yeah, I can see why you're a little bit hesitant. So I would say that, look, it's a known condition. It's a known condition. I would say that maybe have a conversation with me afterwards. I would say, look, let me be honest with you. If you find that this is happening either to you or even to your children, because we pick it up mostly in females and it starts really early. It can be a stress response. And it could be something that you may need to visit your doctor for. And there are strategies that your doctor, your GP can help you with. But it is a condition that is known and it can be managed, but it is something that you need to see somebody for. And often it is a stress response.
But do see, as Michelle kindly mentioned, do see her afterwards and she can have a chat with you. Okay, thank you. I'll just get someone on that side. A lady there with the turquoise jumper. Just on the other side, just on that side there. Yeah.
It's green, but okay. By the way, I follow most of you, and the fact that all of you guys are mostly sitting here is great. So you guys said if we're not using oils on our scalp, bear in mind I'm 21, this is all I've learned. What are we using on our scalp then? Because if it's not oil, because I've been using, I don't know if I should say the trend, but just that one oil that you just literally for the scalp. If it's not oil, like not actual cooking oil, like oil, what am I using for my scalp? And I got another one. I have, if you can't tell, I dyed my hair recently. Is there any products, if you guys ever dyed your hair, if there's any products that you can give?
I've never dyed my hair. Hello?
She's a natural blonde.
It's natural.
Yeah, that's my questions, yeah.
Okay, so do you want to answer the oil question? Because
Alternatives to oil.
yeah.
Okay, an alternative to oil is a spritz. There's no reason why anybody should be oiling their scalp. That's just the honest truth. But if you find that you need something on your oil, then a spritz. So if you look at my hair care brand, we have a spritz on the market that has been designed for the hair and the scalp. You can try that. It's just, I'm just not in favor of putting oils on your scalp because it can exacerbate problems for some people. That said, some people will oil their scalp, and let's be honest, they will never have a problem, but they are the exceptions to the rule.
I said this earlier, but there are quite a few hyaluronic acid scalp serums on the market. The one from The Ordinary is £12, so it's pretty affordable. You can use that one every day, and it doesn't really build up, and it's just a very lightweight serum. And the other one I mentioned was from The Way. It's slightly more expensive. I think it's about £40, but it also has a blend of hyaluronic acid and other hydrating chemicals that basically hydrate your scalp, so you don't need to use an oil.
And also, just to add to that, applying oil to your scalp is it's probably more habit than, you know, a need to do it. So why don't you try, set yourself a challenge of going 1 week without applying oil to your hair and just see what happens. You might surprise yourself.
And to your question about dyeing your hair, you know, the minute you dye your hair, you've introduced an element of damage to it. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't dye your hair. I really want people to dye their hair if that's going to make them enjoy their hair. But when you dye your hair, you then have to be on top of your conditioning agents. Your deep conditioner has to be on lock. A great leave-in conditioner has to be on lock.
Michelle, I'd love you to add to that because, I mean...
Again, exactly what you said. Just setting yourself a routine. Good cleansers, good moisturizing cleansers, clarifying cleansers as well.
But also specifically made for color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. It's about increasing your hydration level in your hair.
I use one from Redken called the Acidic Color Gloss Treatment. It's a spray, a leave-in conditioner that's also really great for coating your strands, and it has heat protective properties as well. That's also been great. I used to have red hair for the better part of the year, so that's what I was using.
Thank you.
Answered?
Thank you. There was someone just over here. Sorry, I'm getting you to run around quite a bit. Yes, just behind. Thank you.
Hi. So it was mentioned earlier something about if your hair follicles are ripped out or they're out, then it doesn't grow back. That hit home because I had what I thought was a protective hairstyle, and it really did wear on the side of my head. And ever since, my hair's not been the same. It's not, no, there is like slightly like, oh, please don't stare at my head. So there is slightly like less hair, and I've noticed it, and I've like massaged it. I've used like the dermo rollers. So does that mean it's just never coming back, or is there some way to help to kind of stimulate some kind of growth back? Because I need my hair.
Should I go? I will actually say this is someone that suffers from traction alopecia, although it's not like evident. My edges look fine, but I know what my edges used to look like.
Yeah.
So I wore slick high puffs for the first like 4 years of being natural. And essentially over time, the same thing happened to me. The actual follicles itself got damaged, which means that hair can't grow out of that follicle anymore. And essentially, if that's the case, it might not come back. But I always say the same way you go to the doctor for things, go to a trichologist, let someone actually look at your scalp. They're gonna look at the follicles on like a very molecular level and tell you if you can actually yield growth in that said follicle. So if it's something you've tried everything for, I would definitely say book in a trichologist session and they can really look at your scalp and tell you the next step of action.
Okay, thank you.
That's great advice. There's a
Can
lady
we do
here.
the one behind her? Because I feel like she's had her hand up for ages.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, amazing.
Finally.
She made it. Stand up, girl. Stand up.
Okay, so I have, well, I'm going to be greedy here. I'll have 3 questions.
Oh, this is why no one came to me.
Okay, sit back down.
So the first question is just a yes or no answer. Do you guys recommend co-wash?
No.
Okay.
I say it depends.
Doesn't it depend? Because if you don't have that much build-up, right?
It depends. So if you wash your hair every week or every 2 weeks, but you swim in between and you need something to just quickly cleanse before your proper cleanse day, then it's okay. As long as it's not an exclusive thing of using co-wash.
I always say no when people ask me that because most times people don't actually wash their hair often anyway. If you're not cleansing often, co-washing should be out of the question.
I agree.
Because
I don't think.
I agree.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Second question is, how do you actually know something works for your hair? So we've spoken about the different things that we should be looking at, but how do you actually know? Because I signed up to Treasure Tress like for a very long time, using different products on my hair. My hair grew, but I'm at the point right now where my hair is at like a plateau. I don't think it's growing in length, but it's getting denser, and I've dyed it. I've done a lot of things to it. So, yeah. Sorry.
Dense is good. Density is good. Your hair's getting thicker. Listen, Treasure Chest is a brilliant idea. Okay, because that's the whole point, because it's so you can dip in and out and have a little try and see what works for you. So in terms of answering your question, how are you going to know what works? It's trying testing, but also looking at the science, I guess, behind certain things, finding out, going back to what I asked you before, is what's the end goal? What is it you want from the product? What is it you want it to do? What's your dream hair? Yeah, so it's asking yourself all those questions before you go, is this product going to work? Because every single one of us have different hair types. So what might work for you is not going to work for me, and vice versa, right? So I think try and test products. I don't want to be this person like, oh, have a go, it's perfect. Kind of look into it a little bit deeper before you. But I think the question is more on you, is what's the end goal? Yeah?
Okay.
And your third question?
Well, I kind of blended the last 2 questions together because I didn't want to be too greedy.
Okay.
Okay, girl.
Thank you so much. Okay, I have time for one last question. Yes? Okay, who should I go for? Okay.
There's some
Someone.
The Afro duo.
Afro divas at the back.
The Afro divas.
Oh my goodness. You guys have to stand up. That's it.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
Hi, we're Lydia and Alma. We have a YouTube channel. We've helped over 4 million people.
Yeah, we follow you, girl.
Oh, hey, girl. What's up? We just moved to London, and we're relaunching our hair, but we're quite British, all right? We've lived there for 16 years, so we know how to grow our hair in the UK. But my question is a bit of a comment as well as a question. The question is, do you ever incorporate any spiritual and ancestral practices in your hair? The comment is, it helped me a lot, because just being raw, that's our brand. There was a time when our parents lost their business and we couldn't afford hair products. So we went to the kitchen and we use herbs to grow our hair. And we just kept it very simple, 3 products, and that helped. Also, the stress, I think we talk about it, but we're also still not raw about what we go through as Black women. I like to say indigenous women. For example, you've got to navigate the workplace. You've got to navigate dating. That's a huge one for me, okay?
How long have you lot got? Because we can stay for another 6 hours to discuss that.
I just really wanted to bring it up because when I have conversations with friends, I also think being a rebel is very important. So I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but as you mentioned, wearing an afro, we always get, yes, sisters. Yeah. And then when I have my bust down, I don't get that. Yeah. But I'm still, very proud of who I am, and I fight for things. But it's just interesting, depending how I wear my hair, you can see it or you can't. But even with dating, for example, some of my friends who've dated interracially, they find that they were able to accept their hair easier because their partners found them beautiful. And I think I'm not saying that if you date within your race, you won't experience that. But there's just different experiences that do contribute to why you wear your hair a certain way. We all know if you wear your hair a certain way, you can attract certain people. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Go to Mayfair.
Hard wig, soft life.
But I think it's really important.
Can I say something that might be a little bit controversial?
Yes.
I think the African American experience of hair, living, dating, everything is extremely different to the Black British experience. Absolutely. And when I think about ancestral ways of doing hair, I'm Jamaican, I was born in Jamaica, and I'm an immigrant to the UK. I'm very invested in alternative ways of healing in general, whether you have a chronic illness. A lot of women here have like PCOS, endometriosis. I fully agree with alternative ways of healing. I think hair growth is massively due to your genes, and sometimes you can use every herb in the world, but you're genetically predispositioned to have a certain length of hair based on your mom, your auntie, your grandmother, the same way you get endometriosis from your grandmother, your great-grandmother. So there are things in your control that you can do. There are like products that you can use which work, but I don't know if your hair would grow anyway and you using the herbs was just something that helped you emotionally. I think that's definitely a thing. And then your second part about like doing how you do your hair and being treated differently, I think that's a universal experience that we've all faced. Yeah. But I think that our identity as Black British people is quite fractured. I think we're a very new ethnic group. A lot of people know Windrush, the Windrush generation. It's only been about 70 years since they first migrated to the UK. We have such a different and newer experience of racism, of texturism, that I don't want to conflate the two. I think it's really important that you guys share your experience as individuals and as people who have come from a different place and are now living here, and compare them and embrace them both. But I think it's so different. A lot of the issues that a lot of Black British women are having with their hair, African American women are not having that experience.
I completely, everything you said, I agree with. Everything. The only other thing that I would want to add to that is my background, heritage is I'm Nigerian. Thank you. And so with being a Yoruba Nigerian woman, spirituality is actually very, very important. And I think that you touched on something that I actually want to speak to. The science tells us that our hair strands is dead. And I believe in science. So if you look at my brand, I say the best of science with the best of nature. However, I also come from a mother who is Yoruba, Nigerian, and has deep beliefs about her hair. She will not agree that your hair is dead. She believes that your head and your hair a living. And there's a part of me that wants to respect that and does respect that. And so therefore, when she's styling her hair, my mother is 85. She has a full head of hair. She does not allow multiple people to braid her hair at the same time, right? And I think that if we actually pay attention to these things, it can actually help us. Even if you don't believe in the spirituality part of it, it can help you with your hair health. 5 people on your hair braiding your hair? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, really? My mother will not allow that because she believes that all those people are transferring energy onto you. There's a part of me now that believes that as well, right? So I think that there's a lot that we can learn from that spiritual teaching and learnings. And for me as well, as a brand owner, I believe that our hair is a supernatural thing, that our hair is unique, is powerful, it has its own energy, and so therefore anything formulated for it, anything put on it should be fabulous, should be amazing, should be made consciously. That transfers into my brand because of my mother's spiritual leanings. So I am sympathetic to you, but I also agree with everything that you said. I don't necessarily believe that the herbs of this world are the thing that we all need. I believe in spirituality, but I also believe in science. But I think that we should respect spirituality more.
Definitely.
Well, thank you.
Sorry,
And
I just
sadly,
wanted to-
we have actually run out of time. So I'm so sorry for keeping you much longer. And I'm sure you can have more of these conversations as we end here, because a lot of our panelists will be
I
around.
don't think Fumi has to apologize for anything, do you? This was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
so much. Please give Fumi an amazing welcome. Oh, applause, sorry. And thank you to all of our amazing hair experts. Honestly, I was typing furiously. So insightful. So just brilliant. I will be ditching the hair oils expeditiously. I was in co-wash bondage, I won't lie, but I got free a while ago. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being with us today.
Thank you.
The
Have
Beauty
a great
Beat
night.
2024. For those of you who are coming tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow for another excellent roundup of expert panels, insights, masterclasses, and all that good. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and get home safe. Goodbye. Woo, woo, woo.